call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. Let's go.
What's up, trees? How's everybody doing today? So, I hadn't planned on doing this stream, honestly. I was just going to leave the debate to stand on its own. What's up, Philbert and PC? I was going to leave the debate to just kind of stand on its own feet, and whatever happened. But there's been there's been two channels, not a number. The number is two. What's up, Port Claire? Objective Ethics, hey, how's it going? There's been a couple channels that did reviews of the debate, and I use debate loosely because, first of all, I backed way off of some of the more aggressive points I wanted to make because I knew that my opponent had came in unprepared, didn't even know what the subject was because Joseph didn't show up. So I had a number of talking points listed that I wanted to use. Like I had actually prepared for a debate on this subject. And it ended up being the only thing that I read was my opening. And then I kind of skirted around some of the questions. But hold on, guys. We got to have coffee and cigarettes for this here today because this will get interesting, I'm sure. I've invited some folks over the Proverbs guys to come push back against some of the things that I'm going to talk about because they did a review of the video that was not appreciated. Nitty, though, did a review, and Nitty's review was thoughtful and good. I have to say, though, yeah, I wish I had the rips part there. Cigarettes, unfortunately, are just furthering my emphysema. So, but I got some weed, but it sucks. So I don't even smoke it. But well, we're not doing a debate. We're not for sure. I just told them that I was going to talk about the things that they said, and I left them the points that I was going to make here today. Actually, it was my notes for today. I'm going to read it straight out of the comment that I left over on the Proverbs Guys channel about what they said. I'm not going to pull up their video and do a review of a review and a review of Nitty's review and all that. I am going to. The only thing that I would have pushed back against that Nitty said is that when I said, and this ended up being the major point of contention with Proverbs guys. So in retrospect, Nitty, in hindsight, Nitty was correct. And I have to give it to him there. But he at the very beginning, he says it. And other than that, I have no problem with anything that he said. I think it was fair. It wasn't much of a debate. Everything was a mess because the actual person didn't show up. So we ended up with what we got there, which, I don't think personally. Of course, I'm going to be biased towards my own position because it's my position. I don't think Achilles did anything to support objective morality, not in any way. No, we're not reviewing the reviews. We're not doing that. I'm just going to, there's a few things I'm going to say about the comments that they made about me and the debate. And, other than that, I'm not going and watching their reviews and reviewing it. I'm not doing that. I don't like when other channels do that. So I'm just going to talk a little bit, and I'm going to go over some of the things that were said, but their stream was like a 2.5 hour long stream. We're not going through all of it. we're just going to go through some of the major points that I took issue with, such as accusing me of ad hominems and all that, which I would challenge anyone to go find any point during that video where I made an ad hominem attack against him. As creationists do, they pointed out, I'm sorry, I'm extremely dizzy right now. They pointed out several they pointed out several different I don't know. The getting dizzy kind of confused me for a second. It did go off topic. I'm not disagreeing with that. Now I was never going to push back against that. I don't think out of the two times, there was two times that you told us to get back on topic that I recall, and one of the times was completely triggered by Achilles bringing up, which it's he brought up something different, and I ended up following him down that road. And the other time was me, and when you said it, I said, "Yeah, you're right. That was off topic. Sorry." But So yeah, they try to like keep pointing out fallacies and stuff, but they don't know what they mean, and this is a common thing with creationists. Cigarette went out and everything there. All right, not dizzy anymore. So uh, but we'll get into the specific points. Anyway, the point that Nitty made was that whenever I in my opening, yeah, that's true, Robin. I was prepared for Joseph. I knew Joseph's argument, and I had to kind of fill out what I had to force Achilles to even give me his argument. So, um, I we had to kind of do things backwards, and it confused everything and all that, and whatever. Like, but I'm not. I I mean, I think that. I think that given the obviously it was on an atheist channel with a mostly atheist audience, so I imagine most of you would side with the fact that I probably carried the debate better than Achilles, but I don't think it was even a very good thing to call a debate. It was more of a like half-assed debate discussion thing. So everything got messed up from the beginning, and it didn't help, and it didn't help either one of us. But you know, the point that Nitty made, though, and hey, Nitty, I'm glad you're here, actually. And if you want to come on and talk, you can. You don't have to, but and I kind of was going to push back against that point, but Nitty ended up being right. Nitty talked about me using killing instead of murder, and said that they would go and say that it was murder and all that. I did that on purpose. Because I wanted them to, I wanted him to go down that road, and I knew that Joseph would, but no hard feelings. No, Nitty, honestly, I watched whenever I showed up in chat over there towards the later end of that. I watched that part of it, which you really was talking to chat more than anything. I went and started back at the beginning, at the end, and I watched a good bit of it, but my ADD eventually got the best of me, and so once you started talking about something else, I quit paying attention. I'm sorry. It's just I do it during my own videos, so it's not personal. But of the things that you said, I don't take any issue with anything you said, other than the murder thing. So that was on purpose. I purposely used killing because I wanted them to push that correction. But the reason I wanted them to push it is because then once you switch it to murder, it doesn't get better; it gets worse for you. If you want to make that argument, because no matter how you look at it, if I go and run up on somebody's land and kill them and take all their stuff, so I can have their land, that's murder, right? There's not, it's not war just because it's a bunch of people. Like, it's still murder. Murder is a type of killing, and so I wanted them to make it worse than what it actually is. The King James version of the Bible uses killing. The original Hebrew version uses the term rat sock, which means a like a unprovoked, premeditated, unlawful killing, which is what murder means today. But whenever it was written, of course, we didn't have the word murder. So, oh, hey, what's up? Dealing with Dylan, another Kentucky atheist. Good to see you. Hey, if you're from Dylan, if you're from Kentucky, stick around here. We got several of them here. There are several Kentucky atheists here. Yep, see, there's one. There's a couple more there too, and there's a couple people who used to live in Kentucky that don't now. But anyway, so the original Hebrew term did mean what we use as murder today, but murder is just an unlawful type of killing. It's a legal term that we use. So I purposely used killing. We'll get to that. But yeah, Nitty, that was the only thing that I was going to say that about it that I would have pushed back about. But after going and watching the other review that the Proverbs guys did on it, you were exactly right. That's what happened. How many angels can dance on the head of a pin? Yeah, exactly. So it ended up being a semantics game, and that didn't happen during the debate, so it wasn't really a problem because I used killing in my opening, and then we used yeah, I know, but that's Achilles was the one doing the review, so uh, but and I've got some notes on things that they said, but and Nitty, you can see if this lines up with the rest of everything you said. There wasn't a whole lot of it I missed, but there's a chunk in the middle that I missed. And yeah, Dylan, I'm from Ashland, and Robin's on the other side of Kentucky. We have the Skeptic is a Kentucky resident, down towards the Lexington, Mount Sterling area, Moorhead, that area. And he'll be on here Saturday, actually. So there'll be 2 Kentucky atheists on. And Wednesday, or Thursday this week, we'll do politicality. And Robin will be on with me, 2 Kentucky atheists on that day. So maybe hit that subscribe button and click that bell so you can know when that happens, Dylan. And everybody else, too. Anyway, so let me just go ahead and just talk about the things that I see. I'm going to kind of and if I straw man them, I'm sorry, but we had a whole argument about. All right, so I told him that they were right. I prepared for Joseph, and I knew Joseph's positions in argument, and I wasn't aware of what Achilles would say, so I was trying to draw out his position. Here are some points I will make. You're welcome to join the stream and push back if you like. They challenged me to a 3 versus 3 debate. And I said no. I said I would do 1 versus 3 and I would take on all 3 of them. But I wasn't interested in doing a 3 versus 3. That would just be a fucking mess and it would take 5 hours to get through. I think I can't stand those debates like that. Like, because you then either have to wait for each person to make whatever point they want to make, or you end up with one person making the point that everybody else would make, and you always have some asshole that makes it a dumpster fire. You're right, Nitty. So yeah, I don't think that there's any value to that, but I would take them all on one at a time, all 3 at once. I went over there and stomped the shit out of them once before because they were being dishonest as hell about mitochondrial Eve. It was funny, kind of, but they got caught quote mining. So my notes, I made 11 points in their comments, but I was making them as I watched their review. And I wanted to let them know I was going to say what I was going to say and all that stuff. And, you know. So I said I talked about problems with the Bible because Achilles immediately started that he believes the Bible lays out God's objective morality. Questions like, should we trust the source, and looking at the credibility of the source on moral issues is very much relevant. So they start out making the argument saying that I attack the Bible and the God of the Bible rather than talking about objective morality. Seeing as the Bible is the only source for that morality, yeah, that's what I do. Thank you, PC, for dropping that tip thing in there. If you guys want to help out, do it that way today, please. That would be more helpful than anything. I don't know how many of you know some of the things that are going on in the United States, but it has affected my very poor family greatly. So, and we'll talk about that Facebook post that some of you seen too. But anyway, so what if there was versus three? What is MES? I don't know. Am I stupid? Don't call me stupid, Simami. God and the Bible are the argument. Yeah. So anyway, back on track. The Bible is the source for these claims, right? Everything that they know about God and everything comes from the Bible. And whenever I made my opening, whenever we had this, we hadn't even got to the opening. Whenever I started talking to Achilles, the very first thing he said when I asked him about objective morality is, yes, I think it comes out of the Bible and this and that. So of course, my next move was to challenge the credibility of his source. I mean, and they claimed that I was like, they claimed that I made ad hominem attacks all through this, and I challenge anybody to find a single one. I was as nice and friendly to him as I've been with any other person, except for Lionheart. I cussed the shit out of him because he's a dishonest fucking prick. But so anyway, and that's my next point. I was accused repeatedly of ad hominem. There are no examples of this here or in any other debate, except for me cussing Lionheart out for an hour, which he deserved for being dishonest. That was what I said to them. I didn't change the subject. Okay, so they tried to say that I was changing the subject. And this is a common theme within this. He says that I keep changing the subject and I'm bait. Well, he doesn't use bait and switch, but that's what he says I'm doing. And he says that I was trying to draw Joseph. Well, we'll get there. Anyway, they claimed that I was changing the subject. And I said, I didn't change the subject because the comparison between God's commandments and his direction to break those commandments is a clear example that even if from God, morality is subjective, which is true and very much the point. The morality of the Bible is absolutely indefensible. Joe probably mopped the floor with this theist. If that was, yeah, I wouldn't say that, but he didn't make any points, for sure. He just kind of kept arguing and the Bible, and so then criticized me for attacking his source that he used. Rob, and here's my point: if God exists, he is responsible for objective morality. He does not necessarily have to align with our morality. So whether God is evil or good is irrelevant to the existence. Yeah, that's true. Existence of objective morality. Yeah. The ultimate name is name. So does religion explain the world better than science? Science is the observation of everything around us. So it's made to explain things around us to the best of our ability, as it is ever changing. So this is an interesting point. So science science is not a one thing. It's a method. It's a collection of procedural methods that we use to describe the natural world. And science does not answer questions about the supernatural world, mostly because we can't find any reason to suggest that the supernatural even exists. Every time that we've tried to investigate something like that, such as the God helmet with near-death experiences, we find out that it's just the brain. It's just a product of the brain and effects on the temporal lobe of the brain. So whenever you interrupt when you interrupt the connection between the two hemispheres of the brain with electromagnets, an electromagnetic pattern that that disrupts the communication between the two hemispheres of the brain. You get, and this is all relates back to the morality lab and all this stuff. And what I'm describing is called the God helmet, which was originally called, I think, the Corin helmet by the scientist that made it. But no, he didn't, Sumami. You're right. But so we know that we can reproduce those near-death experiences by doing this through the God helmet. So yeah, I will. That is how, whenever there's a supernatural claim, we end up with a natural explanation for that claim. So as far as science goes, the supernatural is not. It will never be the proposed hypothesis of something in science. They may fact check or try to confirm supernatural claims through science, but like we will never try. Like we don't look at the trees. We don't look at the trees and try to explain. Say, you know what? It may be supernatural. No, we look for natural explanations because that's all we see. Naturalism. I hate that fucking word, by the way. But naturalism is that it shouldn't even be a thing. It's like atheism. Shouldn't be a word. Naturalism just means that we agree that the natural world is what we see. All those other things, we don't actually see that any of that happens. So, you know, if you want to claim that something extra natural, supernatural, will you? If you want to claim that stuff happens, then you need to provide some sort of reason to suggest that the supernatural could even exist. Because if it's outside the natural world, how are we to even look at it? We have no way to do that. Yeah, trees might be supernatural. Demonstrating that is another matter. Exactly, Ember. And especially whenever we have natural explanations that seem to fully explain those things, what is the appeal to the supernatural for? Why do like one of the famous quotes said is that if you whenever they were asked, you know, like that there's no need for that hypothesis when talking about God and the supernatural. So it's stupid, but it's part of their belief. So whatever, we discuss it. Let me get back to my next point here. Achilles accuses me of bait and switch and says I tried to dishonestly bait Joseph in and attack him by changing the subject. That's just a lie. It didn't happen. Literally, the first example, he said war. So I went back and started at the beginning of the Gish Gallop. Okay, so what he says here is that I didn't answer his question. Well, whenever Achilles first made his first point, the thing that he said is he started with talking about, well, they did that because it's war. I challenged whether it was truly considered to be war or if it was just an invasion of a group of people who killed everyone, which is murder. There was no declaration of war. They invaded another land that wasn't at the time theirs and said that God told them they could have it. Or at least that's the story. That's kind of challenging too, because then that requires kind of like some of the, you get back into some of the history there where we talk about Moses and the Exodus and some of those people and all that stuff. I do very much believe that they killed the people there, but the reasoning why, of course, I have to argue about, because I don't believe in God. Imagine that. Achilles brought up ritualistic things. Okay, so one of the times that Robin said that we got off topic was whenever we discussed ritualistic stuff. And Achilles brought up the ritualistic stuff by talking about how God says to wash the blood off of you if you get it on you, or you're unclean and you have to go stay somewhere. That was literally what he said. Um, I didn't bring that up. He did. So Achilles brought up ritualistic things, not me, and tried to pass them off as part of what we were talking about when it's totally different, when it's in a totally different part of the Bible. Yes, and I called him on that. I told him that what he was talking about was ritualistic stuff from the book of Leviticus, and it had nothing to do with the war he was discussing that took place back in Exodus and Numbers. So I, like, uh, okay. And also, he said that they didn't do that to women that were menstruating, and it's absolutely in the Bible. It says it. Um, he accused me of a gish gallop because of my opening, and this was a big point that they spent a lot of time on over there. They tried to say that every time that my opening, because I named off multiple things, that I was trying to gish gallop him. I told him I was reading my opening. And what is an opening in a debate? Anybody want to tell me before I say it? And you know, anybody want to tell me what the point of an opening of a debate is? Ember, maybe. Ember, I'm sure knows. What is the point of your opening in a debate? I'm not going to say it because I don't want to influence anything here, but what's the point of it? I'll wait a couple seconds, see if anybody answers. So the opening of a debate is your argument, right? It's a summary. It's like the abstract of a scientific paper. It's the summary of your argument, and I use them to outline the case I'm about to. Yes. So you lay out your multiple premises in the opening. What you do is you lay out your position and why you have it in the opening of the fucking debate. So that they then generally an actual debate would go like this. You both do an opening that is not influenced by the other's opening. Like I would do an opening of what I wanted to, the points I was going to make, and Achilles would do an opening of the points he wanted to make. He wasn't prepared. I get that. I'm not holding him to account for that. But you can't turn around and accuse me of a gish gallop because I make multiple points in the 3 minutes I spent doing an opening. It's literally what the opening is for, is to make your points. Then whenever you do a rebuttal after that, you rebut the opening of the other person. Now, a lot of debates, especially on YouTube, don't even include that section because a lot of times through the back and forth, they talk about their various points and flesh that out. So it's not, you know, again, just a dishonest review. Achilles tries to set up the point that I didn't understand what objective morality meant and should have explained it later, but then later agrees with my definition and what he called a thesis at one point on multiple occasions. And even in the review, right after he says, I should be telling what objective morality means and all this, he even in the review, he then says, yeah, Joe understood objective morality perfectly, and I 100% agree with him. So I don't know why he said that, but he did. He said that I didn't give the definition. Accusing me of jumping around because I made multiple points in my intro. Learn how debates work. Dan Pawsey was on there. God had no problem with wiping out the children of others that were doing bad things, so it's a moot point. Dan Pawsey's argument was that even though at this point I hadn't even brought up slavery, I was just talking about killing in the Bible. He brings up slavery and says, well, if they killed everybody because they had slaves, then there would have just been children left, and who would take care of the children? So it was necessary for God to not do that. God had no problem telling the Hebrews to go kill little children in multiple different parts of the Bible. Dash their head against the rocks for talking about you bad. Kill the women and the children and the little babies. but keep the virgin girls for yourself. Had no problem with telling them to kill children any other time. So why would that even be an issue? If the people were doing something wrong, God had no issue telling them to go kill everybody else, murder everybody else. Sorry. So yeah, Dan actually said some nice words about me at the beginning. I was surprised. And those are the major points I made about that. That's not it's not exhaustive of the things they said. They did like a 2.5 hour stream on it, and so whatever. I think that see these kind of things are the things that I was setting up for this with Joseph, right? I was ready for those arguments. I knew the arguments that Joseph was going to make because I've heard him make them before. I've interacted with him before. I know his take on this position. So it didn't matter though because I prepared for the topic, not the person. But I did expect certain arguments to be made, and I had to draw those out of Achilles because if I didn't get Achilles to give me his position on those things, I would have just been straw manning him, whether it was true or not, because I didn't know his position on it. That's why things were kind of a mess doing it that way. Um, the fact of the matter is that the opening that I made and the reason that I didn't write a closing is because my opening alone completely destroys objective morality from the Bible. Now, listen up, creationists. Here's a free one. You won't take it though because it involves evolution. If you want to order, if you absolutely have to argue that objective morality exists, do it from a point about evolution. Now, whether you believe in hyperevolution, because creationists, you do believe in hyperevolution, you do believe in speciation, you just believe it took place in a few years after the ark crashed. And I know it doesn't say crashed, for fuck's sake. I don't want to play any more semantics with words. You do believe in evolution. So you just don't believe evolution took millions of years. If you want to make an argument for objective morality, I would agree with you if you made that argument based on evolution. The reason that I had to challenge the credibility of God and the Bible and the things that are said is because I would have agreed with objective morality if you had grounded it in evolution. Now, let me give a caveat here. Not individual objective moral duties. I wouldn't have agreed with that. I would have agreed that evolution caused our empathy, which then the morals and ethics kind of came out of that. So you can ground it in something that's objective. The individual morals and duties, though, I wouldn't say are objective ever. I believe in objective morality, but I ground it in logic and use evolution as the evidence. I don't agree with that objective ethics. We can talk about it sometime if you want, but I don't agree with that position. And if you want to do an atheist on atheist debate, we can do that. The problem I have with any kind of objective morality is this. When you individual objective morals and duties, anyway. The only thing you can appeal to in an argument for objective morality that I'm aware of would be the harm that it causes humans. Now, for it to be objective, it would have to be true no matter what. It would have to be a hard fact. And without the existence of humans, you don't get that. And also, if you appeal to harm, why is harm bad? And then you get into what things do you consider harmful? Some things are clearly harmful to humans living and stuff like that. So you can call that harm, but whenever you say harm, that has a wider meaning and it's very subjective. So I do like appeals to harm. I think you can argue subjective or objective moral duties within another framework. Like if we set up like say secular humanism, you can argue it. And I see where you're going with you do it with logic, because you say like well, if it's bad and stopping humans from reproducing and all that, then it's objectively bad. But again, then you get into the word bad, which not everybody agrees on the meaning of that. So yeah. And who knows? We may have that debate and end up yeah, appeals to harm require evidence that harming one sentient set of creatures gets priority over another. Exactly, Nitty. You never destroyed anyone. You also challenged you to a 3-on-3 and you declined. Awkward. No, I accepted a 3-on-1. 3 of you can come debate me if you want, but I'm not putting 6 people on stage to have a debate all at once. That's stupid. It would be a dumpster fire and we would get nowhere. So if you want to, and I didn't say I destroyed Achilles in that debate. I said Achilles didn't make any points, is what I said. I said I destroyed you guys over there whenever you brought up the mitochondrial E stuff and you got caught lying. That's what I said I destroyed. So back off, bitch. There's your ad hominem too. Sorry, that threw me off for a second. Yeah, whenever you start talking about harm and stuff, number one, if you take humans out of the equation, that doesn't have any meaning. It doesn't mean anything. Oh yeah, and I said 3 versus 1. We can do those individually all at once, 2 at a time, back-to-back days of all 3 of you on different subjects, whatever you want to do, because the fact of the matter is that creationist claims bring no good evidence. You do have evidence. I'll give you that. You have evidence. It just sucks for the claim you're making. All right. And again, I know that you guys wanted to like say that me deferring to the Bible was like some kind of bait and switch or changing the subject or whatever. Learn how debates work, I guess. But the reason for that is because it was the only source for the claims that Achilles was making, and he said as much. So then I attacked the credibility of that source, and even going into it, I knew that was I knew that was it. So the accusations of ad hominem that you guys made, could you provide me one example of that when I made an ad hominem attack? Maybe clip it or just tell me or whatever. Any example of me making an ad hominem attack. Because what's going to happen here is you're going to look stupid for not knowing what ad hominem means, first of all. And then you're not going to find one once you do use the real definition. So, prior to the bitch comment a minute ago, what you guys did was get on there and make a fool of yourself. You got on there and was dishonest as you could possibly be about the debate. You tried to accuse me of gish galloping because I made an opening that made multiple points. That's what the fucking opening's for, you idiots. All right. Oh, did an ad play? Sorry. My videos, a lot of them, like especially my members ones, I go and remember to specifically demonetize those videos, and we may actually switch to a member stream before this ends. But who isn't? I mean, who is or isn't a moderator on Proverbs Guys channel? I don't know. Yeah, look, the Proverbs guys, I get it, man. You guys believe a thing. You lay that out in the intro to your channel, right? In the intro to every video, your intro is that we believe young Earth creationism, that the Earth was created less than 10,000 years ago. All those things, you lay it out. I mean, like I don't. You believe what you believe. I'm not saying that, but whenever you start voyaging into telling other people that they should believe the thing that you believe, and then you start shitting on science and facts and how things really work in order to do it, that's when this stuff starts to get harmful, because then you're stifling education and you're filling people's heads with things that aren't true. Now, if you want to believe it, and that's how you get your morals, go on believing it. I encourage you to. I want more moral people in this world, not less. But that doesn't mean that there's any truth to it. And if you can't show that there's any truth to it, you know, yeah, you know. Oh, okay. You've never been to Proverbs Guys channel? Don't do it. Don't do it, Jester. I'm kidding. Go over there. Look, go over to Proverbs Guys, and if you like, if you like listening to it, even if you think it's silly, like if you like hearing creationists just make outlandish claims, go subscribe by all means. I don't care. I could give a shit less. No serious debate moderator is going to agree to handle 6 interlocutors. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody, as soon as they said, I understand why you want to do that, but I'll take on all 3 of you myself. I don't need 2 other atheists to do it. And that would cut down, like, I'll let each of you make your point, but you have to let me rebut each point. I have a setup and modded a lot of debates, and 3v3 debate would be why do I need 2 other atheists, though, is the thing. If 3 of you want to debate me, go ahead. I'm not going to call it unfair or anything at the end. Like, that's not it. In fact, I'm probably gonna do the dance where I say, hey, I stomped the shit out of all 3 of them. So you're welcome to. If you 3 want to challenge me, come do it. My coffee's cold. I would prefer to debate you 1 at a time, or maybe even 2 at a time, but I can't. 3 at a time, I still think is a bit much. But if you insist on it being 3 of you, I will take on all 3 of you. I do not care. And if you would prefer, so we don't have any crazy reviews here, I won't prepare for the next one. That way you can, that way you have a chance. Yeah, that's Sumami hit the nail on the head. Everyone would end up yelling out of frustration, and that's the thing. I'm not going to ask other atheists to come be a part of that mess, and then end up, whenever it ends up being a dumpster fire, so you can turn around and say, look, see, they didn't know how to behave because you guys came and just kept saying stupid thing after stupid thing with 3 people here. Because I can imagine there would be some interruptions with 3 versus 3, because you're going to have people who don't get to say as much as the others. And if you try to give each interlocutor equal time to say their stuff, what you're going to end up with is a 5-6 hour fucking debate on one subject, and that's stupid. So maybe the 3 of you should get together, take all your notes, and put them into one person to come make your argument. That would be the sensible thing to do. But I mean, look, whenever that, and this is why you guys get stomped so often. Okay, this is why creationism. I know you don't think it gets destroyed, but it does. It does, and everybody but you sees that. And other Christians agree that it gets destroyed. That's why they don't believe it. That's why it's not the leading belief in Christianity by any stretch of the imagination. The reason that you guys keep getting stomped is because you have no sources other than the Bible, and there's no reason to believe the things in the Bible are true. You believe them, but it's your personal belief. And in order for you to believe it, you do the exact thing that Achilles did, is you end up having to say that words mean other things, and that they really meant this, and that this was all these other things. You have to end up doing that. And then we get into the question of interpretation. And here's the problem with your interpretation of the Bible. Number one, most Christians don't interpret it that way. To about 40%. So not even people within your own belief hold that by a majority, hold that position by a majority. Number two, you have no sources. You have nothing to rely on. Instead, you three would have to get together and put all of your words in somebody else's mouth, and then that would still get destroyed, because at the end of the day, I have a whole bunch of science that I can defer to, right? A whole bunch of scientific consensus of that, not just scientific method and hypotheses and all that. Proven theories that I can defer to. So that's why you guys get stomped so often. That's why I'm trying to tell you, if you want to argue objective morality, try and do it through evolution. Don't, or at least just the need for objective. You still can't get to objective morality. You can get to empathy, you know. But at least you would have, a chance then, because what you and the points that I made in my opening. Let me tell you a little secret about my opening, okay? And I can read it again if we need to do a refresher on this. That opening I released before. Well, not that opening. The original opening that I wrote every word of, I released to a few people before this ever happened, to just let them look at what I was going to say. A couple of them are here in chat today, and they can tell you that I did as much. No feedback. Oh, if this looks good, go ahead. But what I did do, and I openly admit this, I ran that opening through AI to fix some of the structure, because I don't write, and I'll show you the two examples if you want. I mean, I can show it to you that it's still the same thing I wrote. It's just fixed because the flow and my punctuation and all that. Anybody who's read my writing knows that I write better than I speak, but I still have some problems with sentences like running on forever and ideas, and I get off in the weeds and all that crap. The only thing that I had the AI look at is the structure. I didn't have it. In fact, after it fixed the structure, I asked AI if it was sound. And the output from the AI was that I used that I made these points and all of them were factually correct. My logic was good. That's it. There was like I wasn't even going to tell that, because I knew that it'll get some like people bitching. Oh, you use AI, but I used AI the way it was supposed to be used in this case, to not put words in my mouth, but to take my words and arrange them in a way that was easier for people to comprehend, because I tend to say things that aren't sentences and use words that aren't words, because I'm from Kentucky and I'm sorry. Hillbilly nonsense. But we should do agnostic versus atheist debate on objective morality. You'd be a tough opponent, but I would still be down. Yeah, if you want, we can set that up. I spent I don't know how many hours picking apart their bulletproof evidence for the story in Exodus. It was so bad, I'm surprised they got the country right. I never finished it, though. I got very boring and like a fucking child and non-fundamental Christian. I don't think bashing children is okay. Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't think bashing children's heads against the rocks because they said something bad about you, because they weren't kind to you. That's crazy talk, and it's one of the many bad things that you're forced to believe if objective morality arises from the Bible. See, the whole point of what I was doing in the debate was not a bait and switch, but the point behind it, the major point is that you were going to have to agree that God was all good, which is why I brought up the problem of evil. And it's why I brought up those verses, which I cited which verses I was using from the Bible. And because you were going to have to argue that those things were good. And that's what I wanted. Because you're going to sit and argue objective morality, that murder's bad and that killing children's bad and that all that's bad. And then I was going to force you down the road to where you say all those things are actually good. Which then, and if you say they're actually good because God directed them to do it and God's all bad, all good or whatever, then then you still end up with subjective morality. See, the problem is that, and it's what I said about divine command theory during the debate. The problem is that what is happening is you're taking the term "I think this is right," and then you're putting the words in God's mouth and saying God thinks this is right. Still subjective, dumbass. The problem is that you want to claim that objective morality comes from a God, but you can't actually give any objective morals that God doesn't contradict in the Bible. Molesting children, it's there. Incest, it's there. Murder, it's there. Theft, it's there. Adultery, it's there. Coveting, it's there. The Christians do every one of the things that God says not to do. Okay? And by direction of God, not just they do it against God. They do it at God's direction. So how can it be an objective moral not to murder people when then they tell them to go fucking murder people? Like, this is the silliest argument. And this is why a long time ago, I had refused to even interact with conversations about objective morality because it is the stupidest, weakest fucking argument that theists make. It is the worst fucking argument you guys have. Yet you want to go around throwing this shit around all the time. It makes you look dumb. Stop. Sorry. Hey. Laura just came in the door. Sorry.
Hello. I can't see.
Yeah, you don't. Well, I imagine not, but really bright outside. Yeah. Thank you. Yep.
All right.
So, why I literally just said greetings and I'm being warned. Somebody warned you for saying greetings? What are you talking about? Because if you're lying, I'm going to kick you out. Look, everyone is welcome here. Don't come and start shit, okay? And I don't know that's because I just banned you at another channel. Your reputation precedes you. Yeah, you forgot PC's a fucking PC's cold. She's a fucking gangsta up in here. Shit, fucking PC knows everybody that goes around starting shit because she mods on like 80 fucking channels. Okay, so. You're welcome here, Big Nick, if you behave. As long as you behave, you're welcome. And that goes for everybody. Whenever you came and you joined the chat, it gave you a list of rules. As long as you follow those rules, you're fine. Nothing to worry about. And if my mods are giving you shit and you think they're giving you shit and it's unwarranted, contact me and I'll take care of it. I'll tell them, I'll say, hey, give this guy a chance, 2 channels I saw this morning too, besides what PC is talking about. Oh, Big Nick's a troll. I see. Well, let him make the first mistake and then go ahead and ban him. If he has, and it depends on what those mistakes. What were those mistakes? Are they things that I'm going to get upset about, PC? Because if you've been on channels of friends of mine making bigoted comments and shit, preaching, okay. I'll stop there. Yeah. No, I will ban you with no warning. PC will not. You're welcome to come here and say your piece and whatever and interact with chat. I wish more Christians would come talk about these things. He is a bigot. Yeah, so did you ban him for bigoted remarks? And were they to the level that I would say ban him? Because if they were, just go ahead. I don't give a shit. If this person has been going around this community feel free to preemptively ban anybody that does that. It's not like you fucked up over here and now you get a chance here. That's not how that works. He does not say hateful shit, not that I have seen, but he preaches a lot. Well, okay, we'll wait and see what happens. Did you ever find out why Joseph never showed? Yeah, Joseph apologized. He said that he just forgot and he had no excuses and that his his phone was messed up, so he wasn't getting my messages that I was sending him, or it was dead or something at the time. I yeeted you from a channel Saturday night. Tori. Nick, the case is getting bad. The case is getting bad, brother. So reason with me. Well, it sounds like you weren't willing to reason with anybody else, but you were willing to go around making shitty comments on other channels. And I trust my moderators. The Big Nick was sexually harassing Jess. Ban him. Gone. Yeah, I just got a message about you, Big Nick. Bye-bye. No, we got a sexual harasser. We got an incel.
Oh, great.
Fuck off, bitch. Go eat shit with the rest of the creationists. Is he gone yet? Before I continue? Has he been removed? Oh, even better. Okay. Has he been removed yet? If not, I'll go do it. Okay, thank you, PC. Thank you. Thank you, guys. That's why I love my moderators, because you guys know what the fuck's up when I don't. Let me say something too to my moderators out there, and even those who aren't moderators but keep an eye on these things. If you want to be a moderator on this channel, all you have to do is say you want to be one, and I will probably make you one. Yeah, fuck him all the way out of here, Nitty. You're right. You have no place here. So if you want to moderate on this channel or whatever, you just need to let me know, because I don't just give out wrenches to people willy-nilly. Now, sometimes I'll give out a wrench to somebody if they say, yeah, babe. Sometimes I will hand out wrenches to people who, thank you, Tori. Thank you. You guys do wonderful work. I'll hand out wrenches to somebody who wants to post a link or something like that, and then later when I go look at it, I'll take them back. So, but I only give wrenches to people that want to actually moderate, and that I can depend on to say, hey, will you kick that person while I'm trying to talk? Because it's very distracting to me. I did a lot of drugs in my past, and sometimes my thoughts get jumbled and my brain is starting to slow down some as I get older. And so those distracting things I have to kind of be, but my moderators understand me. They understand, like PC knows that even if she would have preemptively kicked Nick as soon as she seen him and then told me later, I would have said, good job, because I want moderators that I can trust to make decisions to do those things without me having to stop and say, hey, do these things, that know me and watch my content and want to do it. So I really appreciate my moderators. It's you that makes me capable of doing this. I could not. You didn't give me anything. I could not do this without you. So I very much appreciate that. And like Nitty and people who came in and gave me information about this, thank you very, very much. But if you do want to do things like that and help out here, it doesn't pay anything, except for my thanks. You have to, one of the things with my moderators though, is they're all in my Discord server too. So you need to be there to do it. Caitlin, Chloe, what's up? I'm always looking for people who want to moderate, because PC moderates for like 20 channels. And while she's the head moderator here, by the way, you have to get her approval too. While she does moderate here quite a bit, she's not always available to do that. She's not always available, and I don't expect her to be. So I do have a need for people to moderate. So if you want to, let me know. If you just want the wrench though, like, don't do it, because if I give you the wrench and then I don't ever see you in chat again, I'm just going to take it back. little Dick's comment to apologetics channel and watch cook 6-7. Oh please, my kid is in first grade, and yeah, no, I will not give a wrench to any MAGA person. Uh, and I would give a wrench to like there's a couple of creationists and stuff that I can think of that I would. Um, Casey, Caitlin, Chloe, yeah. How you been doing, Casey? I'm actually if whenever you get a teaser thing together for the thing, I will play that for you to help promote. Um, I wasn't prepared to do it today, or I would have screenshots of your stuff. But if you get like something together for me, that'd be awesome. I'll play it and advertise for you for that for your event next year. Just saying. But anyway, uh, so yeah, I love the people that help me here, and they are in my Discord server, and we have a little area where we can go and talk about things that happen. We have a little area where we can post like receipts of people who get around the community and say awful things, or people who are my moderators can go there and they can screenshot something that happens if it's not to the level that they would ban them, and then I'll look at it and say, well, keep an eye on it, or I'll go ahead and ban them or whatever, you know. And many times I just go ahead and ban them. I very much trust my moderators to make those decisions. The chat is not the place where I'm at. I don't even. You'll probably notice, and it's probably one of the reasons that my channel kind of has plateaued a lot. Yeah, Caitlin, Chloe, I understand. I understand. I would encourage you, just by the way, if you're looking for a person to help make some of that stuff, which I know GE, I know GE is the computer guy and all that. But if you're looking for somebody to help make some of that stuff, because it is very time consuming, may I suggest Jess? Not that GE doesn't know that, but I don't know what your knowledge is of the stuff that Jess does, but that would be a person to talk to. She's always looking for work in that area. So, and some of the wonderful intros and graphics and things that you see here were made by Jess. I don't know if Mark will want to do another one on ethics so soon. Oh, talking about debate review. Yeah. Mark Reed. Let me say a few words about Mark Reed. Mark Reed doesn't get a chance to get over here because the time that I usually do my streams is the middle of the night for Mark Reed. Mark Reed is an excellent human being. Not just like he makes good content and is a nice guy, but is one of the most genuinely nice people that you will ever meet. And I can't say enough good things about Mark Reed. I wish that we could have him on here more often, but our hours kind of conflict. I'm kind of relegated to doing this while my kid's at school, or you know, sometimes like on Saturdays I do a thing in the afternoon, but I do it early because it's not before his bedtime and stuff. The logistics of streaming got kind of tough there for a while, and that's why there wasn't a lot of content coming out from this channel, and we've had to kind of figure out a routine for that works for everybody. And so that's why a lot of my stuff has been pushed to earlier in the day, and which I'm actually happy with, honestly. I think that there's a need for stuff in the mid-afternoon, you know. So which isn't a good time for a lot of people. So that's why I do what I do. But anyhow, will you and Joseph try to redo the debate? I would be more than happy to debate Joseph. I'm not going to do it on objective morality now, though, because a debate I prepared to have with Joseph and then ended up having to use my opening and stuff on someone else. I'm not going to have him go back and review that debate and then come and argue against it while I say the exact same things. That would be kind of stupid. And I don't know that there's any reason to continue any conversation about objective morality. It has been put to bed thoroughly by a number of people. And my debate on it, while I did prepare, and I have lots and lots of you would not imagine how over prepared I was for that debate with Joseph that he did not show up for, and then I had to fucking scrap it and do something different. I'm not interested in putting all that back together again in a different manner so that it's still watchable for people. Nobody wants to come and see me make the exact same argument against a different argument, you know. If Joseph wants to come and talk about some of the points I made or whatever, that's fine. But as far as an organized debate, I'm not interested. If Joseph wants to have an organized debate on some other topic, sure, I don't care. He just needs to figure out what that topic is. I've come to accept that doing the things important to me are already not better for my channel. Well, I'm not sure what I want to say about that because I know what you mean and I understand your point. I'm not. Let me think about that for a while, Amber. Let me roll that around in my head because I think that first of all, I'm sorry that the world's this way. I'm sorry that there are so many ignorant fucking idiots out there. And I'm sorry that at least I feel like I used to be one of them. You may think I still am one of them, but I feel like I'm at least caught up on the basics of what you're talking about. Anyway, I'm sorry that you're made to feel that way. But let me tell you something else, and maybe this is inspirational, maybe it's not, but the thought's there because your voyage, Ember, has been very inspirational to a number of people. And I will continue to say that you're one of the bravest people that I know. And you've been a great friend to me outside of that. Regardless of that, we would still be friendly with each other. You know, like you are one of my friends. You know, you know this. Do you know what though? Do you know, like, I know that I can't come here and bring anything new to the conversation really, other than like I can take my perspective on things and because I'm from a deeply red area and Kentucky, which the Kentucky atheist is kind of a joke and it plays to the people that like there's a whole point in the marketing side of that. But the do you know what you do whenever you make it inspirational? Like you don't. I understand that you may have to at least supplement that with other content, but if anybody is capable of inspiring people to care about the things you care about, it's you, right? So just my thoughts on it off the top of my head, not telling you should or shouldn't do anything, just my thoughts. But obviously I'm going to be a bit biased. So I'll debate you on why Star Wars is better than Star Trek any day of the week. You want to do that? You sure you want to do that? I mean, what do you mean better, first of all? You mean like more entertaining or that it's a better universe? What do you mean better? Because because first of all, you have to describe what you mean first. Because, well, actually, it doesn't matter because I think you're still wrong. Given so, Star Trek has. I'm not going to do it. I am a Star Wars fan. In fact, I watched all 9 episodes last week. So yeah, I'm a huge. But also the week before that, I watched all the Star Trek movies. So you know, I can sit and watch Star Trek and Star Wars both all day long. So better the universe, better for society. Star Trek is set in a utopian society. How can it be better? I know that later on in like Picard and stuff like that, that starts to fall apart. But in the Star Wars universe, you literally have a super villain with that controls the whole galaxy, not just a federation of planets that operates within their own boundaries, because they never want to go in the neutral zone, although they do every time they get close to it. So Rogue One is your favorite Star Wars? Not mine. I do like what Rogue One added. I loved the ending of Rogue One, especially, but not my favorite Star Wars movie, but a really good one. Of the sorry about that, guys. We had a oh, that's way too bright. Um, they beamed me up. Um, I get that and appreciate having ethical principles does make it harder to afford food, though. I know what kind of content would get money, but that isn't the change I want to see in the world. Yeah, I feel you, Amber. I know. Hold on. Oh, that's too bright still. Something's wrong here because it's coloring me. But anyway, I'm much paler than it's showing. um, no, my I have to use a um, powered USB hub in order to run my equipment, and my powered USB hub is screwing up. And if I like touch it while I'm streaming, it 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 resets my camera and stuff. And the only way for me to turn it back on is to leave and come back in. So, or you end up, or I can get the camera back on, but you won't be able to hear me. So, that's the problem with that. My powered USB hub is on its way out the door, and I need to get another one. But right now, America has made it hard to even feed my family. So, yeah, that's a thing. Anyway, back to oh yeah. Let me address a Facebook post that a few people seen yesterday. Robin specifically seen it. I had thrown a little temper tantrum and got on Facebook and bitched about how people that I was messaging trying to get a hold of to give me a ride the mile down the. It's all downhill though. It's why I can't walk it. I'm just not able to walk back up the hill. I could get there. I just couldn't get back home. So not an option. Um, so the I was bitching that I had messaged people and they didn't answer me. I said I was trying to get a ride and answer your goddamn messages. I said I messaged all these people and they couldn't even say no or fuck you or anything. They just didn't even read my messages. And so that's what I was bitching about. And I said, you motherfuckers will be calling me next week wanting something. And remember this, okay? That was what I made. A member of my girlfriend's family decided to get on there and tell me to get a job and that they didn't feel sorry for me and other things. But this person has talked to me twice in my life, and only one of those was an actual conversation. The other times were like, Um, and so I told her that she didn't know what she was talking about. She's not aware that I've filed for disability, and I'm waiting for my lawyer to get that taken care of. I can't. Number one, the reason I filed for disability is because I can't work a full-time job. I have some health problems related to to heart surgery in my lungs and the deformation of the left side of my chest cavity. So that's why I filed for disability. So this person knew none of those things, though. And you know, so I ended up having to be a dick to somebody that was saying things that would be reasonable, all things being equal, but they had no clue what they were talking about. And she's a meth head, so fuck her. Anyway, that was a small part of things, but I just know that that was shown on my Facebook, and that a number of you are on my personal Facebook. If you would like to be on my personal Facebook, what you need to do is first go find the Kentucky Atheist page and join there, and you will find my profile there. You can't search for my profile, but you can find it there. And if you want to, you can send me a friend request. You know, not that the Kentucky Atheist Facebook page is just that. It's a brand page, and it's not monetized or anything, but it is it is a place where on Facebook I post like when I'm doing videos and stuff for those that see it there rather than notifications on YouTube, because I know a lot of people turn those off. I do, because otherwise, if I had notifications every time someone I'm sub to made a video, every time that I opened Facebook, I would have 100 notifications. So that doesn't, you know, there are a few channels that I've set up notifications for, but very few. I think that a lot of you that are around the atheist community are probably aware that you don't see a lot of me anywhere than here. I'm not in a lot of chats. I mean, I'll stop in and say hi and there for a few minutes and gone. I did get to hang out at Bad Science Sunday last night, which they had an awesome guest, Paula Gia, and Shannon Q made a appearance. That's one of my favorite shows, and I hadn't got to really watch it in a long time, because a lot of times by the time on Sunday night, after spending the whole weekend with my kid at home, when my kid goes to bed on Sunday night, a lot of times I fall asleep too. That's just how it is. Yeah. So okay. But yeah, there you go. Go check out my Atkinson on Bad Science Sundays. Now, part of the title of this video is destroying creationist claims. And I will say this again: I don't imagine there's any creationists still here after all this, but I'll say it in case one of them decides to watch 2 hours or an hour and 18 minutes into this video. Wow, that's too much. In case one of them decides to watch this, creationists, the creationists specifically don't like to talk about creationism. Instead, they like to talk about science that they don't believe, and then turn around and say, well, atheists spend all day talking about a God they don't believe, while they spend all day talking about evolution that they don't believe. So dumb. But if you have some problem with the things I say, and you can be honest and non-bigoted at least long enough to get through the stream, and also, if you have a history of going around saying bigoted things, you need not apply, because you will get caught for that. I will know before the show ever happens that you've done that, and I won't. I really don't care if I interact with you or not. But if you want to come push back on something I say, as long as you can do it in a mannerly way, as long as you can follow those rules that's laid out in chat when you tried to join, as long as you can follow those on stage, you're welcome to. I'm not going to talk about certain issues because it's I'm just not the person to do that. Also, let me say something about this last debate. Apparently, here's how you know when you've had an effective debate with creationists. Because the rest of the creationist community freaks the fuck out and starts making dishonest reviews, and they start all saying all kinds of crazy shit. So immediately following our debate, that later that night anyway, not immediately. Later that evening, I got an email from James Coons from Modern Day Debates saying that Donnie from Standing for Truth wanted to debate me and another atheist. Him and Matt wanted to debate me and another atheist on Modern Day Debates. Look, guys, those of you that know me know that I have spoken out about my feelings about Modern Day Debates. It's a shithole. James is a liar and a piece of shit, and I don't do stuff over there. So I immediately declined this invite, even though it would help grow the channel and all that stuff. It's not how I want to get there. And even if it did grow the channel, given the chat over at Modern Day Debates, I'm not sure that I want those people here anyway. I'm sure there's lots of great people in the chat. I'm not trying to characterize everybody. I'm just saying that it's toxic over there, right? And there's a lot of Nazis in the chat. And Nazis are not welcome. Imagine that. You know, and also, you know, and a little bird told me that don't accept it anyway because James will pay you to come over there and debate. And I wouldn't have done it for the money he would have paid anyway. Even if he had offered that, it wouldn't have been enough to, you know, if he's going to give me several $1,000s, I'm sorry, I'm going to go do it because I need that badly. But I would have still made the point that Modern Day Debates is a shithole, at which point they would have not offered that. So, you know, whatever. I do have a price like everyone. Yeah, chat's very, very toxic. I want to watch debate with Mark and show support, but I couldn't stay in that. Yeah, I actually, for a period of time, especially back around the pedophile now, I mean Matters Now channel. I kind of felt like Mark was just shilling for Modern Day Debates a lot and didn't really care for it. But I don't hold that position anymore. This is way, way early in my channel before I really had any kind of relationship with people and didn't understand. Mark doesn't go to MDD anymore, and Mark will take on anybody. Yeah. In the early days, though, I felt like there was a lot of shilling for Modern Day Debates among the atheist community. And very early on, I talked about it being a shithole before the thing with Matt even happened. And no, but, you know, look, I get it. It depends on what your goals are, right? If you look at your YouTube channel where you talk about atheism or you oppose Christianity, if you look at it as strictly a business, then Modern Day Debates is probably a good place for you to go to debate. If you don't give a shit about all of that stuff, that's fine. But I don't imagine that you're going to be real successful in this space anyway with that kind of attitude towards things. So, you know, and it comes down to the same thing with who I invite on here to interact with in these debates and discussions and stuff. It does me no good to come have some bigot come on here and destroy him when the audience the whole time is that guy's a bigot and a piece of shit. They're not listening to them anyway, and they don't want to listen to them, and they don't want to listen to me talk to them. And so I don't It's really early on in when I started streaming, because I did a debate on Modern Day Debates that nobody knows about because they removed it hours after I did it. I made T-Rock look like a dumbass. That was very early on. That was actually, I had just hit 500 subscribers, which now James says they won't have anybody on that doesn't have at least 1,000. But I just hit 500 subscribers, and I got an email from James offering to debate T-Rock on. I forget what he said the subject was, but he told T-Rock a different subject and a different date. And so he told T-Rock it was the day before that he told me it was. And then when T-Rock showed up, they went on to say that I didn't show. Didn't mention that they had told me the wrong date or anything. They tried to make it look like I just didn't show up for the debate when I was in chat saying you told me a different date, because I caught them. I got on my phone and it gave me a recommendation to go watch the video of me versus T-Rock, which wasn't supposed to happen for the average show. You feel like people ignore you and call you names on most atheist channels purely because I'm conservative. It's probably true. But let me explain something to you, Joe. Being conservative is different than supporting the Republican Party today. The Republican Party today is a fascist organization. It hits all the points of fascism. And if you support fascists, so I kind of understand why that happens. I am willing to talk to people from the right as long as they can behave, because I do a political show. And if, for me, the atheist community is very much about yelling into the echo chamber. It's a flaw. I agree. It's most of these channels cater to atheists and the Christians that come bitch about it that won't actually say anything. So, in order to keep things honest, since a lot of my stuff is based on my own my personal feelings and some of those of the community around this, because of that, I have to, in order to keep it honest, I allow people who want to push back and can do it without being an asshole, like without being a bigoted piece of shit. I allow them to do that. Okay. So, and in doing that, I'm a genuinely just nice person. I've caught a lot of shit from my own community for being too nice to people. A lot of times I'm told my debates are ineffective because I'm too friendly. But I operate kind of on my own rules here, okay? So I don't take the nobody likes me. Well, that's your fault, John Lovell Jr. We'll have a different John Lovell on here Saturday. Anybody that's interested in that. Did you fart? And yes, to the person who said that, as long as you're not here preaching, I don't care that you're a Muslim, or, as long as you're not here to be mean to people and be disruptive and stuff. You want to interact and have a conversation, or you're interested in coming and talking to me in either a debate or discussion, and you can behave and not act like a fucking bigot. That's you're fine. I have no problem with people who believe. I have to turn that up brighter, guys. Sorry. I know it washes out my face really bad, but it's distracting the way it was. Let me see if I can actually, let's do this. Let's turn it back down, but go to a wider light. There we go. That's better. Fine-tuning the argument should be enough to believe in a creator. Would you like to come talk about that? I mean, we get a lot of, and you don't have to come on video. You can do audio only if you want. Achilles was audio only. If you want to talk about fine-tuning, I will debate fine-tuning with you if you want, or we can just talk about it. I mean, it doesn't have to be a debate. I actually push for not doing formal debates. I do what's called the Kentucky Fried Debate method here, where we do an opening and then we just talk and have a discussion, and call it a debate, even though it's not. Joe said fucking. I say it a lot. The F word is common here. I consider myself to be a nice guy and respectful. I just can't have conservative conversations with people that call me names and yell over my points. Yeah, and that's why I tried to be as charitable as possible to people who disagree with me, because a more effective argument comes from letting you be clear about your argument. Letting you clearly make your argument is essential to having effective discourse, because then you don't get to say, well, he interrupted me and yelled over me and made ad hominem attacks that I didn't make and all that. I was perfectly nice to you, Joe, because I wanted you to lay out your position clearly. I got my patio cleaned up, and now it looks like the dirty version of a normal person's patio. You should see my bedroom. Dynamic and stuff. Any creator argument that hasn't been debunked would be enough to believe in a creator. Yeah. Here's the problem with fine-tuning, okay? You're going to argue for a fine-tuner. Why? Who? And why should we believe that it's the Christian God, first of all, or the Muslim God, or any specific God? Or even if we just want to do fine-tuning in general, no gods could possibly exist. Yeah. Even if you want to do fine-tuning in general, I'm interested in that conversation. Don't mention the lion guy. Joe's always very nice. Don't mention the lion guy or whatever his name was. Yeah. So look, I have been overly nice to everyone who comes on this channel, except for that dishonest fucking prick. Lionheart Eric, you're a piece of shit and a liar. It should be Liarheart, not Lionheart. In fact, from now on, your name is Liarheart. The problem with fine-tuning is that we don't see that. Plain and simple. You want to claim that God created this whole universe for us, but we can only live on part of one little tiny planet in the universe? Doesn't seem very fine-tuned to me. I did my best in our conversation. I didn't really prepare. I didn't either. Honestly, the only thing that I've prepared at all for recently is that debate Saturday. And I just did it to see the contrast between when I don't prepare and when I do. It's easier. If I go, again, my writing isn't the same as my speech. I write much better than I speak. So if I write a script and then read it, it doesn't sound like me to the audience watching it. It sounds like something else. And you can tell that it's that way. And that's why I kind of stay away from preparing for things. Now, I may go look at I may go pull a couple screen caps of scientific papers or things that back the position that I'm going to argue. But just because I know I'm going to make this point and I need to supply some sort of support for that point, I'll do that. But as far as writing openings and doing research and all that, fuck all that. Especially on creationist claims, I don't need that. I've argued with these points enough, and I've done it enough that a more genuine response from me seems to be more effective than one that I've prepared and I'm ready for. You can tell very clearly when I'm reading from a script. That's why I tried so hard to keep the script that I wrote for the debate Saturday, I tried to keep it like, I tried to think of how I would say it in my own words and just write that instead of just writing the thoughts in my head, because the thoughts in my head are not always the words that come out of my mouth. And that results in a lot of rambling and blah, 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 and all that shit for me. And so because we were having a debate with a structure, I thought, well, I'll go ahead and prepare for this one, and then I can look at the difference between the two, because I've had conversations about objective morality before that I did not prepare for. I'm not claiming that I know everything about evolution. I'm not claiming that I know everything about your fine-tuning theological arguments, whatever. Like, I'm not claiming that. What I am claiming is that I've heard these arguments and that I feel confident enough to at least speak about them better than the creationist position is. Because at the end of the day, and also I'm honest about it. Joe attempts to be accurate. I attempt to be accurate, but when I'm corrected on things and when I'm told I'm wrong, in any video that you can go and find a place where I've said something that's been challenged by somebody, you will find a comment either on my community tab or that video, and it's pinned, where I have said, hey, I was wrong about this thing. Sorry, here's the actual information. Or, hey, I said I would go check this thing, and I did, and this is what I found. There's no dishonesty about it. In fact, I don't tell lies. I just don't. I did enough lying during my days as a drug addict and all that stuff that I just don't have it in me anymore to do it. And even, I mean, I can have Laura come in here and confirm that for you if you like. I don't lie about things. Which is why Laura and I have been together for so long, is because she's the same way. It's not, I mean, obviously no relationship is perfect and all that, but being bluntly honest about things has been better for us than any other part of it. That's why we're getting close to being together for 15 years. You better prepare for our debate. The Filbert train is coming and the Death Star is coming with me. No, I'm not going to prepare for that. Like I said, in the last 2 weeks, I've watched all of the movies of both of those franchises. So I guess I did prepare, but it was accidental. In fact, you better prepare. Yeah, because the content. I watch every Star Wars movie at least once a year, and Star Trek movies I probably watch more than once a year. It's blunt is good. I prefer blunt to passionate. Well, I'm that too, though. I'm passionate about the truth. Like the it's especially when it comes to these things, because look, I believed in the young Earth creationist position up until my 20s. Okay, and I want to place a bet with a Wookiee bookie. Joe is human, so there might be a problem. Yeah. 1 through 3 don't count. Talking about Star Wars. The funny thing about 1 through 3 is 1 through 3 were said to be the most awful episodes until 7, 8, and 9 came out. And 7, 8, and 9 were really, really bad. The Disney stench was starting to arrive. And then they took and tore apart every aspect of it and tried to make a series out of it, which I don't watch any of those. They all suck. The Mandalorian was okay for the first little bit, and the rest of it was bullshit. But anyway, the reason that we have, like, I've been nice and everything with everybody except for Liarheart is because when people come here and they tell me the things they actually believe and why they believe it, rather than come and argue that the source you're using is wrong about you using their claims for a thing, like I have a video clip of her saying, Mary Schweitzer is what caused all this. I have a video clip of her saying that creationists are misusing our arguments, and also some text of what she said on this topic. Who is a believer? Mary Schweitzer is a believer, so not an atheist. And then they want to argue conspiracy that she's paid to say that and everything else. You can't use look. You can't take the work from a source and cite it and say that it means one thing whenever that source is saying the thing you're saying it means is incorrect. That source does not support the position that you're trying to make. It's so why are you trying to make that position, right? Like, why are you trying to say her work means something that she says it clearly doesn't? And every time Lionheart kept going back to this, I just played the clip of her saying that he's full of shit. Not him personally, but all creationists. And Dave's there. Mary has tenure. Dave actually is the one that went and found that clip for me and provided it to me, and then that was kind of my whole argument in that. And he wanted to deny that and everything. And even when I said, okay, I'll give you all of science is false. Now tell me why I should believe what you believe. I'll give you your stupid talking point. Why should I? His immediate answer to that, well, evolution is bullshit. Okay, evolution's false. Now argue something other than science. And he wouldn't do it. Instead, he went back and tried to attack me because I made a mistake about the half-life of collagen, because it doesn't function the same way other half-lives do. And so, a whole other topic. And I wasn't aware of it. I was wrong. And I told him I was wrong. I looked it up while I was talking to him and said, oh, hey, I was wrong about that thing. Yeah, I'm not granting any of that shit. I'm not actually either, but for the sake of moving on in that conversation, because his only argument was Mary Schweitzer. And eventually I had to say, look, quit being a dishonest fucking bitch and make a fucking argument. And then well, I didn't actually say those words at that point. He kept attacking me, and eventually I just said, fuck you. And I said, fuck you like 100 times, and it got demonetized and all that. It happens. Don't come here and be a dishonest fucking prick. I mean, like, like, deal with the fact that your source says you're wrong on the very topic you're arguing. Deal with that in some way first, and quit making the same argument over and over and over and over whenever I keep playing the same fucking response to it. Deal with it, or concede it. He didn't either. And said he wanted to be an asshole, so let me drink the last of my cold coffee here. You can go get one of these mugs too if you want. They're in the store down below, in my merch store, which apparently is grifting now. Having a merch store, I guess. Whatever. I think that's out. I think we're at about a wrapping up point, guys. That's about all I got. I do want to say there will be no debate next Saturday. The Skeptic will be here. John the Skeptic, the other Kentucky atheist, as I refer to him. He will be here Saturday. Buy my DVDs, yeah. You can find all this on DVD number 4, guys. Just put in your order now. If you go to that tip link there in chat and pay $6.66, I'll send it to you eventually. I won't. you don't get anything for it. The money just goes to my PayPal. I do want to thank everybody who came, even the people who disagree, except for the one we had to ban for being a fucking piece of shit. I do not thank you for coming. I would appreciate it if you stay the fuck away from my channel because you're a piece of shit. I don't even want your views. Don't even watch my content. Because it's just going to make you say more bigoted things. Yeah, there's the skeptic thing, and there's the tip link. I can tell you, if you do tip, I'm going to use it to buy food. 100%, that's the truth. Because all of that's going to be fucked up this month. Thank you, Orange Shitler, for that. We'll get into the politics thing Thursday with Robin Webster here. Robin may decide not to show up because I'm going to be talking about, I didn't invite a guest not for this reason. I actually did invite a guest and they couldn't come. I chose this topic because I don't have a guest. If a guest ends up wanting to come, instead we'll talk about Donald Trump's 60 Minutes interview. But since I don't have a guest, I'm going to talk about preparing for what comes next from my experience. And it's my perspective and my opinion completely, but it's going to be very extreme. I'm going to tell you to prepare for the worst. So I think that, and this is just you have a doctor's appointment on Wednesday. We're doing it on Thursday now. Or do you have a doctor's appointment then too? Yes, I moved it to Thursday because of your doctor's appointment. Did I say Wednesday? I meant Thursday. Yeah, no, that was gonna be my exact point that I made during that stream, was that it's a complete failure of mainstream media to fact check or push back against anything that Trump said, and to actually introduce some of the questions in a way that is not a reality to the situation. I think that's a big problem I had with that interview. But yeah, Thursday, 1:00, me and Robin will be here. I'll talk about some of that stuff. My views are not necessarily the views of Robin. And if she wants to push back against the things I say, she can. But my overarching point is going to be prepared to defend yourself and your family from a number of things in a number of ways. And it may actually cause me problems, some of the things that I'll say, but they need to be said. So at least I'll get them out once. So be here that day to hear my final words. Maybe. If we make it through that day and I'm able to stream on Saturday, the skeptic, John, will be here. I imagine more of you know him better than you know me. But yeah, we're going to talk about a number of things. We're going to talk about his approach to making content because it's kind of unique and stuff. We're going to talk about some of the things he does and where those ideas came from. We're going to talk some about the art protests and other events that you can go see the skeptic at, because he's been at all those and is going to be at all those. He'll be speaking at Baja and at the Rocket City thing that Caitlin Chloe mentioned earlier. That's going to take place down in Alabama. So yeah, we're going to talk about all that stuff, and we're going to talk about creationist claims and a very specific creationist that the skeptic and I have both covered. And in fact, his video that he responded to on this particular creationist was partly about me. And I don't know that he knows we have this in common yet. That I kind of discovered this person way back in my early streaming days. And made a couple videos about him with my previous co-host, whatever his name was, and Blaster Master has also been here for us to cover. This particular person used to go by the name Quirky, but I don't think John will know him by that name. And I will refer to the skeptic as John because that's how I know him. We've had a number of interactions and conversations. He was actually supposed to, he doesn't live far from me. He was actually supposed to come through Ashland and have lunch with me here not too long ago, but couldn't make it for reasons. Not his problem. And not you, Sumami. Muhammad, Jesus, and the proverbial Messiah are all just part of the Shakti and Shiva's Leva. It's just a big joke on humans. Oh, you're replying to our I don't know why I can't think of the name of that religion. Muhammad who? That guy. That guy, if you have something you want to come say about Islam, I'll debate Islam with you. I'm comfortable doing that as well. We don't get a lot of that here, so it would be a good change in pace. If you want to debate, like we had, I think the only conversation where we've debated Islam at all, and it wasn't really a debate, it was a conversation, it was with Nadir. And yeah, sorry guys. Sorry. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful with the Muhammad thing. I just, again, lots of drugs in my past. The words don't always come out of the mouth right. If you want to come talk about that, you're more than welcome to. Shoot me an email at thekentuckyatheist@gmail.com and we'll set it up. I'm always willing to talk to anybody who can have an honest conversation. So if you think that you can come on here and honestly have a point to prove, then do it. If your argument is the same as Nadir's, I can tell you that it's going to go poorly for you. You are not going to do well if you're going to come tell me that the Quran is the source for science. It's not going to go good. I'll tell you that. But if there's something else about Islam you wish to talk about, and you can do it without just Isa. Yeah, Isa doesn't come around anymore ever since. And in fact, he doesn't come. JL doesn't come around anymore either since then, because I asked him to. Because I did push back about some of the way that JL behaved. He doesn't come around anymore either. So fuck them both. I don't care. If you don't like the content I make, give it a thumbs down. Tell me I'm a piece of shit in the comments and why. And fair game. I'm on here telling you what I think. You are more than welcome to tell me what you think. And if you want to come on stage and tell me what you think, whether it be audio, video, or whatever, if you need to call in on a telephone rather than do it on a computer, we can arrange that. But going in my chat and preaching at the people in chat is not going to get you a full response from me. I may respond to some of the things you say, but if you want to actually challenge the things I say instead of just bitching about it in chat, grow a pair. I'm just going to say a Muslim person should probably not be talking about how great God is at population control when Gaza is literally amidst an ongoing genocide. That's wild shit. Yeah, I agree. There are my socials in chat. You can find me there. You know what's coming up. I appreciate everybody that came, everybody that was new today. Please like and subscribe. I mean, if you end up not liking this channel, unsubscribe. I don't care. The last 2 months, I lost subscribers both of those months anyways. So that was my fault for not having a regular content schedule and things of that sort, which we're kind of getting back to now and streaming regularly. So, it's what I don't even care. We had this conversation in my Discord chat, which, again, in the description, you should join my Discord. There's a lot of good conversations there. If you, there's multiple ways for you to get a hold of me if you want to talk about it. So you make the weirdest comments. They're really bowing to Satan who told them to worship the moon. I think you're a decent guy. I may disagree with some things, but you seem well-rounded. I try to be. Listen, there are... Oh, please don't fuck everything up. I just started to touch my keyboard. And thank you, Filbert. The people who know me and I am friends with know they are my friends. Even if we disagree on things sometimes, they know they're my friends. Like, this is the extent of my social life. So if you are out there and I talk with you, you know that I have some sort of respect for you and talk with you and all that. That being said, I'm willing to listen to anybody that wants to challenge my position on these things. And if you can show that I'm wrong, I will change that position on the spot. There will be no delay. Now, if you make some like references to scientific papers and things like that, which is kind of what you need, if you do that, it may require that I go look at those things beforehand. But as soon as I'm shown I'm wrong about something, I'll admit I'm wrong about it. Like, I'm not going to continue down that road. It's not, when supported with scientific facts and objective facts, which, holy fuck, objective. When supported with that, it's valuable. Now, what I will say is I grew up believing young earth creationism was true. I didn't even know there was a different kind of Christianity. I thought all Christians believed that stuff. That's what I was taught growing up. This is before the internet, before texting, before we had the whole wealth of knowledge of humanity at our fingertips. In fact, where a lot of the things that I know about came from reading encyclopedias when I was a kid, because I had to have a set of encyclopedias. Like, which a lot of that information has changed from encyclopedias that came out in the early 90s. I had to have an old secondhand set of encyclopedias that someone gave to us. So if you want to bring some stuff like that, I welcome it. But as a person who used to believe that stuff, I don't call the people that believe irrational, as many atheists do. I think that given indoctrination, which is very much a thing, and indoctrination, the main point of indoctrination is that you can't question. You're not supposed to question the points made. Given indoctrination, it's a perfectly rational position. But once confronted with objective facts supported by scientific consensus, it is no longer that. We talk about how dishonest Ken Hovind is, and it's because he's been corrected on these things with objective facts over and over and over and over and over. And this is the problem with creationism, is you have one book, one source that is never changing, that does not allow for correction, that does not allow for it to ever be wrong about anything, although it objectively is wrong about many things, and it contradicts itself over and over and over. Same thing with the Muslim book. You want to say that because while the Christian book is the inspired word of God, the Muslim one is the actual word of God. So if there's anything wrong in that, it kind of destroys your God. I mean, like, it either destroys the book's credibility or God's. Pick one, you know. Surfing Wikipedia on paper. Yeah, I remember I did I had to do like a report on a state and talk everything about that state, and they gave me Alabama, and so I had to break out my encyclopedias and read about Alabama, and yeah, it was a whole thing. But anyway, I don't think we need to think of Christians as people in the Matrix. They don't know they are trapped. Yeah, I agree. I think that apologists are a different thing than believers. And I don't take any issue with what you believe. You can believe anything you want to believe. That's up to you. It's when you start saying that me or my children or other people's children or other people should believe in that thing that you believe, and you support it with nonsense. That's where I start to take issue, is because it stifles the education of children. It is harmful. And if we look at DOJ statistics, if we look at especially cases of crimes against children throughout Christianity, I know that the Bible doesn't say to do that. I know that you can say, well, that's not all Christians, but it's a very prevalent thing in the largest denomination, the Catholic Church, and the Southern Baptist Conference is no better. It is a problem. So spreading those false ideas leads to harmful things. It doesn't have to, but it does. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. the number of people killed in the name of God is greater than all the wars combined. Like the Spanish Inquisition, the Catholic Church, the what do you want to talk about? The Crusades? You want to talk about warmonger Muhammad? Like, who do you want to what deity would you like to specifically talk about? Because I don't think it's harmful to be a deist necessarily. I mean, it can be if you start then giving misinformation about science and stuff, but just the fact that you believe is not a problem for me. It's the things that you're doing. It's what you're doing with that belief that's the problem. And this is something that Stephanie, it didn't originate with Stephanie Helms, but for me, when Stephanie Helms said it, I was like, you know what? That's exactly the point. Like, I don't hate God or Christianity or any of that. I hate the things that they do with it. I hate the oppressive way that it's used against humans. Being a person who identifies with secular humanism as the grounding for, if I have to have something called a worldview, it's grounded there, right? Although I don't view everything in the world through the same lens, I look at each thing individually, right? Because you can assess the truthful and the usefulness of a claim or something individually. When you start getting it all together and saying it's all this thing, you kind of lost the plot. So, all right, yeah, and there's Stephanie's link. Although Stephanie doesn't come talk to me anymore for whatever reason, she's busy, is what I hear. I love Stephanie to death, and Stephanie is responsible for the positions that I hold on a number of topics that you'll see on this channel, and I think about some of the things, the interactions both publicly and behind the scenes that Stephanie and I have had, and the support that Stephanie gave me when we were going through some of the toughest times on this channel, whenever there were problematic things that happened that my ignorance allowed. So Stephanie, rather than attacking me for hosting the thing, understood the situation better and was willing to put up with my idiocy long enough to teach me a few things. And I truly will always appreciate that, even if Stephanie and I never speak again. She will always be a person that is important to what I do here today. All right. So I thank you so much for everybody that came and watched today and commented and all that stuff. And I thank you, all my channel members and stuff. If you want a channel membership, click the join button. They start at 99 cents. I do member stuff every week. This was originally going to be a members only video, but I ended up making it a public one. If I can talk the skeptic into it, the last 30 minutes or so of our interview, I will switch over to members only and allow members to come on stage, meet him, talk to him, say what they want to say. If he will agree to it. I have to okay that with him first. Some other creators, especially the bigger ones, are not really okay with the fact that I'm switching it to something that people are paying for. And I'm getting paid for access to them. And I can understand that, and I have no problem with it. But as long as he's okay with it, we will do that. I'll talk to him about it before the stream. I'll let everybody know right up front at the beginning of the stream whether we're going to do it or not. He may be limited on time and not even able to spend that much. He just started a new job and stuff. And so I understand completely if he can't do it, but if he can, I will do that for you guys. But either way, we'll still have a member stream sometime this week. So, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for everything. I'll see you Thursday or maybe soon. I don't know, but I'll see you Thursday for sure. Play the goddamn outro.